lift up my eyes unto the hills, from whence comes my help. My help comes from the Lord, the God of the heavens and the earth. Many trust in chariots and some in horses, but we trust in the name of the Lord our God, the maker of the heavens and the earth. So lift up your heads, O you gates, and be lifted up, you everlasting doors, and the King of glory shall come in. Who is this King of glory? The Lord strong and mighty, the Lord mighty in battle. Lift up your heads, O you gates, and be lifted up, you everlasting doors, and the King of glory shall come in. Who is this King of glory? The Lord of hosts is the King of glory. It's on that note I welcome you this morning on I-FLIER 103.3 FM, Ibadan, the perfect choice station for you, the high flyers. The program is Press Drive this morning, where we'll drive you through the news making the rounds on our several dailies. I will take a look at them one after the other. We'll look at it, the headlines, and afterwards we try to do some analysis. And after that time, then you get to join the conversation. You're listening to me. You can call the studio lines or even join us on Facebook, because we're streaming live on Facebook at I-FLIER 103.3 FM live. You can go there, share to as many platforms as possible, so we can reach the world and let the world know what we're doing. We're taking a look at some of the news. Like I do say every time, when you see news like this, when we break them to you, don't get emotional with it. Try as much as possible to filter that which belongs to you. Get it out and be as constructive as possible, and let's give you that. Let's be diplomatic with our discussion, with our conversation, so we don't get ourselves in trouble, and we get to contribute meaningfully. And let's avoid countering one another as much as we can. Your opinion might be differ from mine, but you can make your point and leave the other person's point as well. Hope we got that. Hope we slept well and we woke up very well this morning. Good morning again. Let's drive. Alright, so it's Press Drive this morning. Let's take a look at the news making the rounds on our several dailies this very morning. So we'll take a look at it from the Nation newspaper. Taking a look at it on the front page of the Nation. Former Senate President Saraki writes off PDP convention. And AMCON officials, lawyers face contempt charges for alleged contravention of court orders. Also, security has improved tremendously in Enugu, says the Chief of Army Staff. And in LASU, only 197 of 4,095 courses affected in hybrid learning. And why I went to disputed Abuja land by Wike. Wike says why I went to disputed Abuja land. On the entertainment session of the Nation newspaper, I want to be the greatest urban rapper, says Saucy. And the Maker Angel emerges Miss Ideal Nigeria 2025. Number 3 cold dishes make bold statement. And Papa Jasco TV comedy to rerun Gen Z Papi season. And campus music spotlight unveiling Nigeria's next wave of Afrobeat stars. Session of the Nation, Wike tackles Buratai over comment on clash with naval officer. So Wike says stay away from Ibadan convention. Wike's group warn PDP members. Also, nothing unusual about conflicting court orders, court decisions on PDP crisis, says Justice Adejumo. On the latest update, Abuja court fails to deliver judgment in Lamido's case against PDP. Also ahead, 2027 APC NC Forum urges Mutfwang to join ruling party. Nationwide membership e-registration drive. And don't blame Tinubu for your woes, Okechukwu tells PDP. Yes, in the ever-exciting world of sports, Tinubu hails the Super Eagles' 4-1 victory over Gabon, says a World Cup dream on course. Mika challenges Super Eagles to grab World Cup ticket despite odds. And that's the much you'll be able to take on the nation. Let's move on to the Vanguard. On the front page of the Vanguard newspaper this morning, it's all about no religious persecution, genocide in Nigeria. Idris, Tuga, and AU, African Union, has that to say. African Union, Idris and Tuga says no religious persecution, genocide in Nigeria. Also, Wike soldiers altercation respects the uniform, no offense committed. General Rabo Matawali has that to say. For PDP crisis, Wabara, Saraki disagree over tomorrow's convention. Kanu proposes new outfits to tackle rising insecurity, supports Trump. Well, for genocide, what we discussed with American officials, says Amechi. You might have to read further what Amechi has to say concerning the genocide allegations. And pastor's 2 daughters, others kidnapped among kidnapped victims by Boko Haram. Pastor's 2 daughters, others amongst kidnapped victims by Boko Haram in Chibok, says sources. Alleged 1.96 billion naira fraud. You have a case to answer. Court to ex-AGF. Abductors of 6 defense ministry directors demand 150 million naira ransom. Wike soldiers altercation respect the uniform, no offense committed. Group takes affairs over Nigeria's democracy to world powers. And the Federal Capital Territory, FCTA, begins new waste management regime November 17. FCTA begins new waste management regime November 17. Politics are key to PDP stop about a convention before it tears party apart. Ogun APC Benga Daniels camp trade words over alleged suspension. An obedient movement's mobilization director resigns. In PDP, court extends order permitting national convention till Friday. But for the faction, I won't force my deputy to join APC, says Governor Duyediri. Well, the federal government suspends 15% import duty on petrol, diesel. So that's the much we can take on the Vanguard. Let's go on to the Daily Post. Well, headlines on the Daily Post this morning says 2026 World Cup qualifier playoff. Nigeria beat Gabon 4-1 to qualify for final. And police rescue 17 children in Kaduna, arrest 3 suspected traffickers. The ever exciting world of sports for World Cup qualifier. What silly Ronaldo told me after a red card in Portugal's defeat. Ireland coach Hall Grimson has that to say. And why Nigeria cannot produce vaccines? Prime Minister, you have that to read. For the World Cup qualifiers yesterday, 2026 playoffs, kudos to them. They motivate me. Osimhen hails Super Eagles stars. Well, it's all about Victor Osimhen, Nigeria versus Gabon. What I told Super Eagles teammate after injury time miss. That's coming from Osimhen. Still on the Daily Post newspaper. Let's take a look at this. VP Shatima, Vice President Shatima Sanwo-Olu orders to herald the Smedan conference. I represent the president. Wike reviews what he expected officer to do during encounter. AMCOM officials, lawyers face contempt charges for alleged court order violation in Nigeria. And President Tinubu congratulates Super Eagles 4-1 victory over Gabon. While Ekwere Madu, Ohaneze youths laud Tinubu's government's intervention. More consumption cost $5 billion. Leather industry. Nigerian government speaks. Did you get that? More consumption costs $5 billion leather industry. A Nigerian government has that to say. Obasanjo leads a walk against diabetes as medical experts urge healthy living. I can't sit, watch things go wrong. Wike on clash with soldier. Abuja bound train breaks down shortly after departing Kaduna. Akwa Ibom lawmaker SCN 6 extension of paternity for civils. Finally this morning on the Punch newspaper, let's take a look at it on the front page. Ibadan Convention, PDP delegates arrive amid Saraki's cancellation move. AMCOM officials and lawyers face contempt charges for contravention of court's orders. Tinubu shifts 15% fuel import duty to the first quarter of 2026. Airlines rejects fresh $11.50 NIS fee. And 3 Nigerians arrested for fraud in Kenya. Lagos driver arrested as truck crushes motorboy to death. 36 million naira fraud. Suspected fake Ondo cocoa farmers to face trial. Lagos driver arrested as truck crushes motorboy to death. Enugu woman arraigned for accusing husband of defiling children. 2 Nigerian migrants feared dead in Libya boat accident. And in politics, for June 2026, Omishore picks 50 million naira APC nomination form. Meanwhile, ADC slams federal government over 1.15 trillion naira domestic loan. Ogun APC, Benga Daniel trade words over suspension. And PDP crisis self-inflicted, but convention will proceed, says Wabara. right, finally, Bode George opposes suspension of PDP National Convention. Alright, so that's the much we'll be able to take on our several dailies. Analysis comes up shortly. Please stay with us. Alright, so to do the analysis with me as always on the program, it's Honorable Femi Adebisi. Good morning to you and welcome. It's the TGF edition of the show.
Yeah, welcome as well, Samson. It's a humorous Friday. Beautiful one. Good morning.
Convention. PDP delegates arrive amid Saraki's cancellation move. Alright, so let's take a look at what the story is all about. Ibadan, the capital of Oyo State, is abuzz with last-minute preparations for the National Convention of the People's Democratic Party amid a potential showdown between factional camps in the opposition party. Built to take place on Saturday and Sunday, the convention is perhaps the most controversial in the PDP's history as the faction of the PDP pulled out. The party pulled out. The build-up to the event, the National Working Committee led by the National Chairman, Umar Damagun, suspended the National Secretary, Senator Samuel Ayon, the National Organizing Secretary Umar Bature, and the National Legal Advisor Kamaldeen Ajibade for 1 month for alleged anti-party activities. This was the sequel to Justice James Omotosho of the Federal High Court, Abuja's ruling, which placed the convention on hold, citing the party's failure to abide by its own rules. Omotosho anchored his ruling on the failure by the leadership of the party to have its designated officials sign the notice of the convention before transmitting the same to the Independent National Electoral Commission. As a result, the judge barred INEC from monitoring the event. Relief, however, came by the way of the Damagun-led National Working Committee when Justice Ladiron Akintola, through an ex parte motion, directed the PDP to have dashed the hope of the main opposition party when ruling on a suit brought before him by former Jigawa State Governor Sule Lamido, suspended the convention, citing Lamido's inability to get a nomination form to vie for the office of the national chairman at the convention. Again, Justice Akintola extended his interim order and directed the PDP to go ahead with the convention. And on Wednesday, the Lakers Salami Stadium, venue of the convention, wore a new look. The massive decorations in the party's colors still ongoing. As of Thursday morning, over 3,000 delegates from the 36 states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory are expected to attend the event. Also expected are party leaders, key stakeholders, and international observers, including members of the diplomatic community. The convention will feature the elections of key national officers, including a new national chairman, national secretary, and other key members of the National Working Committee and other deputies. And it was gathered that the Oyo State Deputy Governor Bayo Lawal was on hand on Thursday to witness ongoing work at the Lakers Salami Stadium with a day left for the big event. The hall is set, the venue is set, the people are coming en masse to the city of Ibadan to witness one of the largest conventions in recent time and one of the most controversial that we've witnessed in this era of the PDP. What do you see? We see a lot of persons actually declining. The likes of Bukola Saraki as declined. The likes of Lamido may not be on board as from tomorrow.
Well, yes. I think very, very frankly that PDP needs that convention and it has to hold. But it has to be non-elective. They need the convergence. They need a meeting. So that particular convention is in the house, and who are enemies in the house, who are pretenders and who are PDP members indeed, they need it very, very strongly. A national meeting, a national convergence. But strictly, I want to warn the party. It has to be non-elective, just like Saraki put it. It is capable of destroying the party further. And also,
should they go ahead with the elections?
Yes. They need to see that.
But seriously, what is the convention without elections?
Well, there are non-elective conventions.
Okay.
Yes. election can be non-elective, it can be elective. So there are two different ball games entirely. So I think they should seize the moment to have a convergence, to have a meeting of, like-minded, PDP members. So I think they should proceed. But I want to warn the governors of the PDP. It has to be non-elective. Let them just seize the opportunity to have a meeting, a report on how to move the party forward.
So what happened? Why is Bukola Saraki hesitant?
Why you see, Bukola Saraki is like somebody who is suffering malaria fever. Cold in the morning, warm in the afternoon, cold again in the night. So you never can tell where Saraki will be. He's one of the most diplomatic politicians I have ever seen in the country. Likewise, Lamido. Well, Lamido is not suffering malaria, but of course we know what is wrong with him. Lamido has said that he will remain in PDP but work for ADC. Now, I mean,
isn't that anti-party?
How will you place that? So it shows that you have a center that is in disarray. It's center.
But we are seeing that with Wike as well. Wike is working for the APC, still remains in the PDP.
Can you see? So which shows that you have a party without a pivot. A pivot is that strong anchor around which other activities revolves. So that is what they are now planning. That's what they have been working towards, and they have been unable to get. So maybe this time around, if this is the moment to make it something like a non-elective convention, whereby you get a caretaker committee to probably steer the affairs of the party and bring other people that cares to come in, bring them together. So that at least they can at least compete in a way in the next election. I think the better for the party. But one thing I want to warn every other person: don't underrate the PDP. Yes, somebody told me that PDP has collapsed. I said no, it has not. The reason is this: for the fact that you get a building and the occupants are getting out does not mean that the building has collapsed. It's always there, so you can always get people to come in as well at any other time. So yes, I think just like I said, the convention should go on, but it has to be a non-elective convention. So people should convene. I subscribe to that. But meanwhile, don't forget that there is going to be a court action today. Yes. So, and they said that they are law-abiding people. So, well, of course, I don't know. Your state high court will not say anything less than the government and the convention should proceed.
But let's look at it from two contradictory, judgment or ruling from different quarters of, competent jurisdiction. Let's look at it from that point. This a ruling is about to take place today in another court, and it must take about say 15 days before you can carry out your action after the ruling takes place. Now the PDP has insisted that they have done their due diligence. 15 days had been given, and of course they abided with that. But then today another ruling will be given. Would they go with this one, or they will go with the other one they already subscribed to?
Well, of course, I think you should understand that the other party went sought respite from the Abuja court, while the mainstream relies on your state court. And both court house they have competent jurisdiction to entertain the matter anyway. So, but I'm not a lawyer, but I think I'm still confused. When you have you have contradictory rulings from various from court of
judiciary should be doing something.
Yes, and that is what the Chief Justice of the Federation promised on ascension of office, that she's going to see there. But of course, I've never seen any actions in that kind of regard. So it means that it means that the institutions that are necessary, that are so pivotal to holding on to what you call the tenets of democracy, are not. They are very sick. They are very weak. Did you have the judiciary? You have the executive, and you have the legislature. All the three are like collapsed into one, and you clearly can say, are we talking of situation wherein the executive will just dictate the ruling to the judiciary only for them to make pronouncement? The president, the Senate president will have to be at Aso Rock to take instructions, so that is not democracy. So something is terribly wrong, And of course, we need to be very, very, wary and, apprehensive of those developments. So our democracy is very, very sick because the institutions are not working.
It's fragile.
Yes, very fragile. You have the police. The police are not on ground. They are carrying bags for, the politicians' wives. You have the military. They are not seriously on ground. They are doing the job of the police. The police are probably doing the job of errand boys. I want a confused nation. So, it's like, all those things are not working. How do you expect INEC to work? So INEC cannot work, in solitary. Yeah, it's a kind of thing is role. The executive plays role. The politicians need to be, to be law abiding. But of course, nobody is obeying any law anywhere.
Right.
It's a confused situation.
Let's look at this story. Tinubu shifts 15% fuel import duty to the first quarter of 2026. And the federal government has approved the postponement of the implementation of the 15% import duty on petrol and diesel until the first quarter of 2026. Contrary to earlier notions that the suspension was indefinite, the bench has learned. The deferment, formally approved by President Bola Tinubu, was in response to a detailed request submitted by the executive chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue Service, Dr. Zach Adedeji, following extensive strategic consultation with key stakeholders to assess market readiness and ensure smooth and orderly rollout of the 15% import duty. Adedeji made the request in a letter dated November 7, 2025, titled "Deferment of the Commencement of the Implementation of the Premium Meter of Spirit Petrol and Diesel Import Duty." The letter, obtained exclusively by correspondent on Thursday, stressed the need to ensure that local refining infrastructure is fully prepared and technical and operational frameworks are properly aligned and fuel supply disruptions are minimized before the levy takes effect. The duty, originally approved on October 21, 2025, was aimed at boosting domestic refining capacity, stabilizing downstream fuel prices, and promoting fair competition between imported and locally produced fuel. Earlier on Thursday, the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority announced the suspension of the planned 15% ad valorem
in Nigeria to be opened to come into mainstream. So I think there should be a blanket ban on refined fuel importation. We have enormous domiciliation of what we call crude oil in Nigeria, but we are still importing. It's an irony. It's a policy somersault. Something needs to happen. So by the time you now say, okay, if you import, we charge 15%. Well, I hope that will not extend to what you call, crude oil, importation as well. If it does, it means that even Dangote will have to pay 15% over every crude oil imported, because I think Dangote is refining more of crude that are imported than the one is locally. I think it was about ratio 31 to 69. Yes, 69 of imported crude, and it sourced about 31 from within Nigeria. And meanwhile, we have crude in Nigeria. So what is happening? So something needs to be done. There's a strong need for sanitation and sanity in that particular. You don't need to charge anything. No need for competition. Why must you bring in somebody to come and compete with you with what you have? That is refined fuel should be a comparative advantage, and we should leverage on that.
During their encounter earlier in the week, Wike made this statement on Thursday at a media briefing shortly after the Federal FCT Executive Committee meeting. Daily Post reported the drama that unfolded on Tuesday as Wike visited plot 1946 in Gadua District, Abuja, following reports that soldiers had taken control of a disputed land. The land is allegedly linked to former Chief of Naval Staff. The unscheduled visit, Wike expressed outrage that officials from the Federal Capital Territory Department of Development Control had been chased away by armed soldiers while attempting to enforce a stop work order previously issued by his office. The soldiers, led by Naval Lieutenant A.M. Yarima, had blocked access to the site with a truck and physically prevented the minister from, as minister I arrive, you cannot have that decorum, that respect to say, sir, I will get back to you. It says in quote again, can I call my Oga? Let me see how this matter will be resolved. Wike said during his press briefing on Thursday. And this is just, I listened to that press briefing very well. And he was actually emphasizing the fact that, yes, he was carrying out his own administrative responsibility to be at the site, that his boys were sent there. I mean, the department were sent on site. They were chased, even said to the extent that some of them were beaten or something. I don't know how that got to
execute, being the executive power to preside over foreign affairs. He can delegate those two to anybody. But the third one is the commander-in-chief. That one cannot be considered, you can't do that on behalf of the president. So the president is the commander-in-chief, and nobody does that for him. No other person representing him in that capacity. He is the only one that has that prerogative. So you want to exercise that power? No, he cannot. There's a limit to everything.
But on the other side of Wike's assertions and his explanation.
So, I was warned in the country, because one day they will even chase out Mr. President from us if it's not careful. They have given them too much ground. One, let me cite an example. You see what happened in Okuwaga? The military went there, performed the role of the police, and something happened. They cornered them, killed them, and we felt so sorry and all those stuff. But of course, in taking care of the situation, it shouldn't be their duty. See what they cordoned off a whole town. In fact, there was what we call military occupation. People were killed, maimed, chased away, and they emptied that particular town. What do you call that? That is other than genocide. And of course, we were clapping for them. And I told them that, look, this is a danger trend. They will do something more terrible than that. And then, of course, you will look for tears and won't get. A country that is governed by law should be respected. If anything happens to the military, okay, look at it now. Do you know that most people that were arrested, they are still in the custody of the military as we are speaking? I have to understand that. One chief, one of the kings, has died in custody. Nobody is talking. Nobody is saying anything. The president is not saying anything. And does the law permit that a civilian be tried or court-martialed according to military law? No, the answer is no. So the police are supposed to be on ground to do that for them. So and of course nobody say anything. So that is that's our situation in the country.
There's always an issue between the police and the.
So and whenever they see, they call me bloody civilian. Can you say a bloody military or a bloody soldier? They beat the hell out of you. So we are in a country whereby we have given too much. Maybe the people, the presidents in most cases, most of them, they feel that they are the masses of the military. They don't want them to take over. They don't want anything to happen to them. They want to enjoy their protection and all those stuff. All those things. Even, I'm telling you, I think it is even wrong for military men to be ADC to a president. Should be the police. So, but of course, we give them a whole dose of roles that does not belong to them. Look at what the new CDS said. Said that
I wanted to say something.
Of Boko Haram, all those things are homeland security to be taken care of by the police.
Yeah, let's look at this follow-up question on Wike soldiers altercation. Respect the uniform, no offense committed. General Rabo Matawale has that to say. The dust raised by the altercation between the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, and a naval officer in Abuja a few days ago is yet to settle, as former Chief of Defense Staff General Loki Rabo, retired, and Minister of State for Defense Bello Matawale yesterday warned that any act of disrespect towards the uniform services amounted to an affront on the authority of the Nigerian state. The minister actually dismissed any justification for disciplining Lieutenant A officer involved in the fracas, describing the encounter as unnecessary and avoidable.
Well, of course, some people are saying a whole lot of things. Somebody said that, look, if the last order says that you go and kill your child, in as much as I think the military, that's what you are going to do. So they are trained to obey, they are not trained to be civil at all. So that's why you see them living their whole life in the barracks. They don't mix, with the rest of the civilians. So, and that order is illegitimate. No, that has another name. It's another offense.
To be an affront.
So you can't do that. You cannot.
Do that.
What you expect from the Yerima, you are not likely to get. It's still, acting within, his own line of schedule, order, and that is it. That's their own kind of life. That is a regimented, it's a regimented profession. So that is what they are trying to do. So if there is anything, I will blame the...
Admission is ongoing. Enroll your child to a primary and secondary classes today and enjoy the dividends of modern and quality education.
Join the high-flying team and visit us today at Unit 1 to 5, I-FLIER College Road, Ogungbade, Ibadan. For further inquiry, call 0815-815-8707
or 0805-331-6634. I-FLIER International School.
Nurturing I-FLIERs.
Have you heard about Pending Hotels and Event Place? The Pending Hotels and Event Place is your spot for relaxation and entertainment, featuring an exclusive bar.
All right, go ahead.
There's something I want to say very straight. Like Honorable have said, the young soldier has no single fault in all this issue. They're only obeying order from his boss. Wiki has the number of the CDS. He has the NS. He couldn't call any of them for administrative work after he has sent
you. Sorry about that. You can call back 0705 500 1033 or 0916 1033. Call any of those lines. I will take your call. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Morning. Morning to you, sir.
Good morning. Honorable.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir.
I want to speak about this convention of PDP. It will hold. I want to tell anybody want to participate that they should keep calm. The PDP will win at last.
Baba, we are not talking about whether PDP will win or they will not win. Let's be cautious. It is not time for campaign. It's not time for anything. It is just a convention for people to come together and have a rapport that will make them a party that they have always known them for. All right. So, hello, good morning.
When we get to thank God that he did, he survived it. If to say that man is a mad soldier, he's not suited.
Baba, see, I don't want to take that. Yes, you may have one or two things against Wiki, and that's quite understandable.
Yeah.
But we must be cautious with our, with our statement and all of that. This is a minister, a serving minister.
Yeah.
So we must be very careful with what we say.
In fact, the president by proxy.
Yeah. So please, let's be careful.
De facto president.
And that's why I say every time that when we're about to call in, let's be careful. Let's mind also in trouble because we're being monitored. We're being, so please let's be careful.
Regulated.
We are regulated.
So.
Carefully regulated. 0705 500 1033 0705 500 1033 or 0916 1033. Can call I-FLIER 103.3 FM live. Go there and check us out on Facebook and see what we're doing there. You can as well share to as many platforms. I've seen some shares. You can do more to share. Please help us to share to so many platforms. Pastor Dr. Famiwa on Facebook says, on Wiki and the naval officer, I like the boldness of the officer. Okay, thank you so much, Pastor Dr. Famiwa. Also, Sulaiman Sharif says, good morning and kudos to everyone in the studio. Ibadan PDP convention is a time for rebirth and rebuilding the party. Truly, some want PDP to die, but faithful and committed PDP must hold their must hold their convention, because all the organs of the party before this individual opinions had agreed they should go to the convention. The Governors Forum, the National Working Committee and the Board of Trustees in the last meeting made mention of going to the convention and must hold in Ibadan. Thank you so much for your contribution, your comment on Facebook. Okay, let's get the calls rolling in. 0705 500 1033, 0705 500 1033 or 0916 1033. Calling right now. Don't forget, we're also streaming live on Facebook at I-FLIER 103.3 FM live. Busui Israel Ajewole says, you said?
It's Busui.
Busui, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Busui Israel Ajewole says, good morning from Badaku.
Badeku.
Is it okay the way they write it?
Yeah.
I mean, it ought to be the other way. Badeku Elura Jago State. But okay. Tunlope Adeyemi says, good morning. No doubt the crisis rocking the main opposition party. PDP is not ending anytime soon, as the Wiki group is not in support of their forthcoming national convention. Okay, let me see. I think there's a call coming in here. Oh, sorry. All right, you can call in. It says forthcoming national convention, but I will admonish the party to jettison any form of personal interest and salvage the party, because we need strong opposition to put this APC-led federal government on toes, especially in reviewing some of their policies that are making life more unbearable for the masses. Okay, thank you so much for your contribution. Also, Sulaiman Sharif also said, I believe that the naval officers were performing their duties. That is not, their business. However, any individual like Wike in such a prestigious role ought to refrain from displaying uncontrolled anger and employing offensive language in public forum. FCT Minister Yeksan Wike said, someone is lawless. Is he sincere with that statement? Lawlessness, really? He's talking about lawlessness? I laugh. Okay, that's what he actually said. He said he laughed. Okay, all right. Let's see what if there are other comments here on Facebook. I'm trying to see if there are other comments here on Facebook. The calls can still come in. 0705 500 1033, 0733. Olashinde Abib Kamadupe says, well done from Okpeyemi area, Gbagi Ibadan. Thank you so much for your comment. Let me see if there are other comments. Taiwo Ajao Guatini says, good morning, my beautiful brothers. Thank you so much. Pastor Doc has so many accolades for you as usual. Right. And let me see if there are other comments here on Facebook. Okay, you can keep the comments coming, and also if you can, please call the studio lines as well to join the conversation. 0705 500 1033 or 0916 1033. Let's see if there are others. Okay, let's quickly touch on this story whilst we await other persons to join the conversation. Okay, let me quickly see. That particular story is talking about no religious persecution, genocide in Nigeria. Idris Tuga, African Union, has that to say, and the federal government has rejected the claims of Christian genocide in Nigeria, describing the allegation as false and damaging into the country's image. And while the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Yusuf Tuga, demanded the full and unedited airing of his recent interview on Piers Morgan Uncensored, saying selective editing could distort Nigeria's image and fuel misleading narratives and allegations of religious persecution, his counterpart in Information and National Strategy Orientation Ministry, Mohammed Idris, said there was guaranteed religious freedom in Nigeria. This is even as African Union declared that there was no genocide in Nigeria's volatile north, as the Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria, PFN, urged the U.S. President Donald Trump to partner with his Nigerian counterpart Bola Tinubu in addressing the nation's security challenges rather than resorting to threats of military intervention.
Well, I think for the people that says that there is nothing like Christian genocide or Muslim genocide in Nigeria, well, I think I will have to leave that to what you call the court of moral. So
to judge.
Yes, to judge genocide in Nigeria. I mean, how will you call it when you have to bury about 200 people in a day within the same, religion? So what is that? So, well, I don't know what to say, but Idris is performing his role. He's not saying his mind, he's saying the mind of the establishment. So I won't, crucify him for that. But there are also individuals that mention something like that there's nothing like genocide. While even the people in power today have once confirmed that you have Christian genocide. So, and not only that, there are incidences that shows us that you have Christian genocide. Likewise,